We're off. Sab0tender gonna start at Dark Chapel. We'll be heading over towards Village of Outcasts. Khloe Prower starts at Link's house, grabs $20 from the first chest.
And we get our map check, and we can see the pendants in Swamp Palace, Misery, Mire, and Skull Woods, with Swamp being the green pendant, and I believe we saw a red crystal in Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, that's what I saw as well. Stumpy gives us a few bombs, that's convenient. Khloe can save and quit and go straight to Hype Cave.
Hype Cave is a very, very good early check in Inverted. It is absolutely the highest density of locations in Sphere 1. In Sphere 1 in Inverted is a lot smaller than you might be used to in your regular open or standard mode. Ooh, that is an unfortunate death, but unfortunately does not cost too much time. You can just retry again immediately from the house, go straight back to Hype Cave.
Yeah, it's really just a minor annoyance, but it really shows how Inverted works. You just these Dark World enemies do the same damage as they would in the vanilla game, and you don't have a lot of health to start with.
Let's see our Hype Cave. Flippers. And Fire Rod. That is not bad.
Yeah, so we can get over to Pod and the Pyramid and the back of Skull Woods.
And Sabo quitting out of Thieves Town, picking up the lamp.
Khloe down to 1 heart from that guard. That guard is very aggressive.
So here we're seeing an early Skull Wood step, plus one of those unique strategies to Inverted where you go down this hole that you would usually use without a bomb jump to get over to the big chest. But here, there are conveniently 2 pots that have bombs, and this is one of the only reliable sources of bombs in early Inverted. So this route through Skullwoods can be very important.
Yeah, definitely the best place to farm bombs if you're going to Skull Woods early.
And we see Sabo heading over to Hype Cave now to pick up Flippers and Fire Rod.
Khloe ran into a Gibdo, I think. Yeah, so he's gonna head back over to that chest. Oh no.
Ooh. How much damage do the Gibdos do? 2 hearts, I believe? They are
I think
pretty
so.
rough.
Don't quote me on that though.
Sabo's going into Ice Palace? Actually, that makes a lot of sense with Flippers and early Fire. Okay, Sabo is going into Ice Palace with no magic, so I think that's going to be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, I can check that hint at least. Maybe that's all he wanted to do. So we find out that Sastra just has cash. Oh, that fellow's hard to get past.
And using those flippers to head over to East Dark World. The hammer or flippers are the only way to access East Dark World. Because you do not get a starting location there, you're going to have to get there from either the location of Link's house in the Dark World, which replaces the bomb shop, or you'll need to get there from the chapel, and both of those ways would require either hammer or flippers.
Yeah. The only other way is to Mire from the Light World, but we're a long way from Light World access right now. Just a piece of heart on the pyramid. Sab0's gonna grab it though. You want all the health you can get for the start.
And not enough health to, money to get into Palace of Darkness. So you're gonna have to make a return trip there later. The early lamp, to me, potentially indicates that something could be in.
Yeah.
And Khloe taking another unfortunate death just goes to show how hard these Dark World enemies hit, and sab0 dodging around those motor crows.
So, looks like we might have to head into Pod soon, or possibly the back of Thieves Town. I think sab0 went in there, but only got the first 4 chests.
Yes, and I believe Khloe skipped the chest that requires the statue pole in Skull Woods. So that might also be a factor as well if sab0 gets it. We also have not checked Digging Game, which is a Sphere 1 location, as all it requires is 80 rupees, and our runners don't have.
Yeah, that's often one you try to put off. But if you can get there early and there's something good, that can be a big advantage.
sab0 having a little bit of trouble with the swordless bomb jump. It can be a little tricky to line up. Without boots or a sword, you're going to have to manually line up your jump, and you only have a 2-pixel leniency there. So it is quite precise.
Yeah, sab0 taking a death because you only had 1 heart left, and you lose a heart when you do the bomb jump. In fact, he's gonna give up on it for now. Just go farm some bombs, I guess. Maybe he's gonna go in the normal way.
Yeah, looks like it. I think that's perfectly reasonable, considering it is rather difficult to set up a bomb jump without any other method.
Just a small key.
And here we have Khloe heading over to the back of Thieves Town. Currently, in logic, the only thing that can be acquired is Zelda's cell. Not Zelda. Sorry, I'm mixing it up with a different cell, which is Blind's cell. That is the only thing in logic, but we will usually go to the attic because it is available, even though it does necessarily require the small key, which could be in the big chest and would therefore be hammerlocked. So right now, going up to the attic is actually a sequence break.
I did not know that, but that's good information. It makes a lot of sense.
Although it depends on the location of the small key. If the small key is in Blind Cell, then it turns into not a sequence break. But it is all dependent on that one chest.
There's also a hint there that Khloe walked past. I'm not sure if they'll go back for that or not. sab0 guy trying to pull that statue. Piece of heart in the attic. Sabo having a bit of trouble with this room too.
All these deaths just going to show how difficult all these rooms are with no weapons, only a very small amount of health. Inverted can be very tough in the early game.
Yeah. Yeah, Khloe picked these settings.
Although it looks like Chloe's also passing up the hint tile, which is an interesting decision. It's right there. I would personally go for the hint tile, can be very valuable information. And sab0 getting a compass for all of that time invested into this whole statue pushing thing.
Khloe having to kill all the enemies because he does not have a glove to lift that rock. Oh, well, that's rough.
And neither runner still has 80 rupees to get the digging game, much less the 110 needed to get into Palace of Darkness. So
Yeah. Sabo's
might
gonna
see
open
one
up
of the
the. Sorry, the Sabo's gonna open up the back here. There's one chest that he can check, but he can't get to Mothula without a sword. There's Bombo, so that it doesn't really open anything because we already had the fire rod for Ice Palace. But all these items we're getting are do kind of point to Ice Palace, so there might be something in there.
Yes, I am definitely suspecting Ice Palace. It can be a pretty early dip, since all you really and the flippers to get into Ice Palace. And we get the hint tile being a unique item is in Hype Cave, which is a very helpful hint.
Oh yeah, there's 2 unique items there.
Looks to me like sab0 is heading back into Thieves Town to grab those only a couple of chests remaining. I don't know, I might go for archery game and into the digging game first. Oh, did sab0 not check chest game? That's interesting.
Well, he's got 80 rupees now. There's our small key in Thieves Town, so I can't remember, did we get both the map and compass already in there?
I am not certain, but we're going to have to return to this dungeon later anyway, as it is one that we currently can't complete as we don't have a method to damage blind, which
True.
Khloe appears to have realized.
So I imagine sab0tender might head down to the digging game now. So yeah, it looks like he's headed there.
Looks like he was debating between going back into Thieves and going to digging game right away. And we know that Thieves is useless, so digging game might just be the right answer here.
Khloe heading for ice. Is he gonna just check the hint or is he gonna go in? He's got his fire rod out, so I think he's gonna go in. Just 50 bucks at the digging game.
That leaves Palace of Darkness and Ice Palace as our only remaining locations, I believe.
Khloe's having to use bombs to get through here.
Fortunately, bombs also kill the penguins in Ice Palace in a single bomb, so that can be very useful for some of these rooms where you have to clear out all the penguins. Friendly reminder that the Freezor chest and the Iced Tea chest are in logic right now, even though our runners have no more weapons than bombs and a fire rod. And Khloe cleaning out that room pretty nicely given the very limited equipment.
Yeah, with just 10 arrows, that's not too useful right now. Just escapes that room with 1 heart.
Swinging an empty sword at this crystal switch, trying to hit it. And here we will get another hint tile. Ice Palace has 3 hint tiles, which makes it of relatively high value. Ooh, the flute sleeps in the tomb. So that means that
good.
flute is in King's Tomb. Now, flute is not particularly important in inverted. It's possible to get into Misery Mire using the Mire, and we don't actually have to necessarily get into Mire in the first place because it's a pendant. But knowing that information is pretty good.
And Khloe using B strats to get through that room without a scratch, that's pretty well done. Decides not to do the bomb jump with just 2 hearts, I don't blame him.
Besides, the bomb jump wouldn't really be of much use right now anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not going to the boss. Oh no.
Ooh, that is an extremely painful death.
Yeah.
And now Khloe is completely out of bombs. This might be relatively difficult to recover from.
Yeah. On the other hand, maybe you can find some rupees and grab a weapon out of pod? Possibly.
This is turning out to be a pretty rough seed so far. We really don't know where progression could be. And, well, we were trying to go to Ice Palace, but there isn't really much. It's probably unlikely that Khloe will try to go back to Ice, now that they've invested so much time into it and only came up with 1 chest for it.
Yeah, he's gonna head to the pod area, probably check the pyramid, and then, I don't know, hope to find enough rupees to get into pod. Oh no.
Catfish is not in logic because we don't have gloves. And Catfish actually always requires gloves to reach in this mode, even though you might think that you could mirror from the light world, but it turns out that getting to the light world in any case will always require the gloves as inverted currently stands, because we can't activate the flute in the dark world. We need to go to the light world first.
Yeah.
That was very close. I was, I think, like only a couple pixels away from touching that Zora.
Yeah, down to half a heart. Sabo's gonna go over to pod. He's got enough money to get in now.
Khloe picking up that heart piece on the pyramid unfortunately does not give a health refill.
Now, of course, if there's not a key in that first chest in pod, we can't do much else there. Although it could be some sort of progression as well.
Khloe is really struggling to find rupees or bombs or anything, really. Right now, the archery game is your friend. You can make a quick, I believe, 104 rupees if you know how to do it.
Yeah, there's a not too difficult trick to getting that every time. And if you're going to play inverted, it might be worth practicing.
I think it's absolutely worth practicing. It's a easy way to get money for the digging game, to get money for Palace of Darkness in a seed that might not have too many early rupee drops.
So Sabo did find a small key, so we can go in and check a few more chests in here. Another small key in that first chest.
Looks like Khloe finally picked up some bombs from an 8-bomb drop, which is very good. Now heading over to digging game with 83 rupees, which is almost exactly enough to pay.
So just keys so far in the front of pod.
And Khloe's going to continue digging to try and pick up enough money to get into pod. And they have it, so they should be good. So let's see where Khloe decides to go, because they can choose between ice or pod at this point. And we are about to find out whether pod was the right choice, which it looks like it
there's our
is. That's
sword.
a fighter sword. And now we have a Mothula in logic. 5-heart Mothula.
And blind.
And blind, you are correct.
And there's our moon pearl. So pod definitely with a lot of help. I believe that sword is in logic because Sabo got it's got 5 keys so far without a sequence break. And
And
there's
a
a glove.
Ooh, okay, so what this means is we have a glove and a lamp and a sword. And it inverted, that means Aghanim's tower. Because
Yep.
Aghanim's tower is now put onto the location of Ganon's tower, where it would usually go. And we've moved around some of the entrances so that you can reach Death Mountain from the Dark World, even though usually it would be cut off. So now we can go up Death Mountain, rescue the old man, drop him off, and then go into Aghanim's tower. Although it is worth noting that if Sabo manages to find either a glove or the hammer, they'll be able to get around that Aghanim requirement.
Yeah. Sometimes it's almost sometimes just easier to go fight Aga rather than try to do Mothula or Blind with such a small amount of equipment. But a sword makes it not too difficult.
And we've got Khloe moving through Palace of Darkness now, going to pick up Sword and Glove. And hopefully be on their way. If Bombos winds up being required somehow, then sab0 will have the advantage from having that Bombos, since it is tucked away in a rather inaccessible location at this point. But I can't really see Bombos being required for all that much, considering how easy it is to get into Turtle Rock, and the fact that Misery Mire is a pendant. So it remains to be seen whether that was actually any use.
It does make the cold stare fight a lot easier, though. sab0 still can't grab that big chest without a hammer, so he's just gonna go and fight blind.
I do not know whether we are isolating a location in Thieves Town right now. The big chest can be a very painful location to isolate, having to come back to it later. If it has an item that you might need, it's a very, very painful and unpleasant thing to have to do. And our pun from Blind today, sausage is the worst. I don't know how I feel about that one.
I give it a 6 out of 10.
And a nice clean blind fight from sab0.
Yeah, near perfect.
Picking up.
Just a piece of heart.
Ooh, sab0 flashed the menu there, but I didn't see it. Did we get the map and the compass?
I missed it as well. Sorry.
Okay, Twitch chat is informing us that the compass is in the big chest at this point. So that's
Okay.
good. That means no hanging item left to come back to.
So I think sab0 looks like he's just going to go up Death Mountain instead of taking on Mothula right now. A full heart container on the bumper ledge. I don't think they're going to be too worried about that.
Of note is that the bumper cave ledge has some pretty interesting requirements in inverted. Because we shuffled around the caves to make access easier, the bumper cave is now in the light world, and it's the only way to get up onto that ledge in either world. So what you actually have to do is go to the light world, enter this cave here that Khloe is entering, go up through Bumper Cave, come out onto the top, and then use the mirror to get over to Bumper Cave. So that location is actually mirror locked. And Khloe taking an intentional death, using the fact that if you die or save and quit while escorting the old man, you'll actually respawn in the cave. So that was a quick way to regain 3 hearts, because Death Mountain can be rather perilous at times.
Yeah, that's not something you want to do if you don't have the lamp necessarily, because you'll spawn right in the dark. Another full heart on top of Spectacle Rock.
sab0 trying to bring the old man into the Spectacle Rock Cave, but he refuses to go anywhere except for his own house.
He's stubborn. Just a big 20.
And our light world check, we have the final red crystal is in Tower of Hera, and the other 2 light world dungeons are also crystals.
So I'm just gonna check the item. A lot of runners now just go straight in here. Oh, it's the ice rod. So he's definitely gonna go pick that up. But yeah, a lot of runners just go straight into that cave because even if it's an item you don't need, there's a hint there, and it can be worth checking. Piece of art on a tablet.
So that could refer to the Ether tablet or the Bombos tablet. We have no idea which one, but once we do get the book, if we check one and we find that it's not a piece of heart, then we can immediately exclude the other.
Yeah.
Where's Sabo going? I'm not entirely certain because you can't get down Death Mountain. This cave actually loops back around to the place that you'd normally come up from Death Mountain if you came out from the Old Man. This will actually bring him back around to Death Mountain. And he looks a little confused.
Yeah, I didn't know that either, because I don't think I've ever tried to exit Death Mountain that way.
Yeah, in Inverted, the White World Death Mountain is completely isolated from the rest of the White World, much as the Dark World Death Mountain in a regular mode might be completely isolated from the remainder of the Dark World. So there's an interesting analog in that case.
Chloe's got to get past these Lionels. Oh, this is something you often have to do in Inverted, and it's not fun.
Yeah, those Lionels will deal 2 hearts of damage with every burst they fire, and 3 hearts of damage if you touch them. So it is possible to get through with 3 hearts, but it requires you to take a damage boost off of the flame, and then to perform some jukes around to escape unharmed. Looks like Sabo managed to get past.
And we're gonna get our Turtle Rock Medallion check, which, again, that's quick. If we find the mirror, we may not need to go in there anyway.
If we find the mirror, we never have to go in there, but we may have to use it by logic. Ooh, Khloe taking another death to the Lionels. Those guys are persistent and vigilant.
Just some love in Super Bunny Cave.
So the question going through Sabo's mind right now is, do I go straight for Agahnim, or do I take the chance that Ice Palace has something for me? And it looks like he's deciding on Agahnim, which I think is perfectly reasonable. Though with both a sword and a lamp, they're gonna have to go there.
Yeah, this is one of those things, even if you know that it might not be required, sometimes it's just easier to just do Aga. It only takes, I think, about 4 minutes or so.
And it looks like we're getting double Aghanims at about the same time.
Yep.
So something to note is that the bats in Ganon's tower, not Ganon, sorry, I keep mixing up my names, Aghanim's tower, they are actually, because they're in the Dark World, quote unquote, they actually do the damage of the bats in the Dark World. For example, the ones that you would see in Thieves' Town Attic, which is because the bats in the Light World and the Dark World are actually just the same enemy, but their damage, their health, and their sprite varies depending on what world they're in. So in this case, because we moved Aghanim's tower to the Dark World, those guys are actually going to deal a lot more damage than you might expect normally. So that room goes from being relatively easy to kind of scary.
Yeah, sometimes you want to just kind of hang back and take those bats out before they cause you any trouble. And Chloe's got to be careful with just one heart here.
And sab0's managed to catch up through Agahnim's tower. Shows you the power of having a full magic meter with the fire rod.
Just a question in chat, what does Dark Aga unlock? Dark Aga will put you on top of Hyrule Castle, just like in vanilla it would put you on top of the pyramid. So it basically unlocks most of the light world.
Also, I like the troll hint that our runners got there. I bet you expected help, didn't you? Yeah. A lot of the hint tiles can be just meaningless stuff, and that will always be indicated by the text being green.
Yeah. So we're coming up on Aga now. Why don't we play that blue ball guessing game? So if you do a perfect fight, you can get a maximum of 15 blue balls, or a minimum of 0. How many are we going to get this time?
Although the RNG pattern is actually fixed for both of our runners, so they'll both, assuming that they both perform the fight perfectly, they don't actually miss any yellow ball shots, then they should get the exact same number of blue balls. So far, we are at 1.
Yeah, pretty nice fight so far.
It's interesting that the routing between our players has been pretty different so far. They were never really in the same location at the same time. And yet, here we are, both of them having exhausted almost all of the checks available to them, and we're at Agahnim at the exact same time.
Yeah, it's funny how that works out sometimes. I think that was 3 blue balls, if I counted correctly.
Yeah, it looked like 3 to me. If you get a yellow after a lightning cycle and that kills, that's usually 3 blue balls.
Alright, so sab0's gonna check the uncle first. As Khloe takes out Aga as well. There's Ether. So the 2 medallions we don't need for Turtle Rock, but we're hoping they won't need them for Mizunaya either.
So once you reach...
Oh, sorry.
No, you go. You go.
I was going to say, once you beat Aga, you get way more guards in the light world, so it's always not fun to deal with, especially when you're starting from Hyrule Castle.
Yeah, we actually had to do some testing to make sure that it's actually possible to get past all of those fast red guards that spawn as the bunny, because bunny is completely helpless. So we needed to make sure that for OKO logic, where you can't take a hit at all, that it was actually possible to make it to some of the locations.
And sab0's going to check out the south area, gets a fairy in a bottle, while Khloe's going to do the front of the escape. There's a small key, which is kind of nice because we can do all of escape now in just one visit.
It is helpful to know that having that small key puts the two chests that Khloe is heading towards right now, the Boomerang chest and Zelda's chest, into logic, because the game will expect you to find that small key before you come down here.
What do we got in Mini Moldrum Cave? Master Sword. Not much else, but Master Sword is nice. ₹300 from the basement in this cave. So means Khloe can go do Zora.
Meanwhile, Sabo heading over to check the KR poorly named Cave 45. In inverted mode, we made a bunch of changes to the geography of the world so that it is possible to access locations such as Cave 45 or the Bombos tablet that you'd usually have to mirror to. That way we can ensure that every location in the game can still be accessed.
Just some arrows at the race game.
And here's everyone's favorite guard, Usain Bolt. So named because he runs really, really fast. Like, look at this guy. He just runs, like, just look at him. He's trying to chase Sabo down.
He's got all that armor and spear. It's pretty impressive. Sabo heading into Kakariko, so lots of checks to do here. Half magic, that's nice. There's a kid with just a heart piece. There's our cane.
So Kane of Samari. Yeah, Kane of Samari in back of escape. To be completely honest, I expect Sabo to route that in after Kakariko, so it's probably not that much of a worry. Ooh, that shovel though. That
It's
could be
kind of
interesting.
annoying when you've already passed by there. You have to backtrack.
Yeah, I can see Sabo putting off that shovel check for a while.
Funny thing, shovel is always nice to find early and inverted, because then you can just dig up all the rupees you need.
And in sharp contrast to the issues our runners were having with rupees earlier in the seed, they're now practically loaded down.
Yeah. Nothing much in Kakariko Well.
Ooh, I just realized that with a Quake Medallion or a Mirror, the entirety of Turtle Rock is in logic.
That's true.
That could be quite scary, although Sabo picking up Blue Mail makes it less scary.
Yeah. We got our plastic shield there. Wow, not a whole lot in Kakariko so far. Just that red cane.
Yeah, Kakariko, since it's no longer Sphere 1, it loses some of its value in inverted.
Did Sabo check the bottle vendor?
Yes he did. I believe he got 3 bombs.
And it looks like they're gonna high five here in Lost Woods.
picking up this heart container at the exact same time.
This has to be the driest Kakariko I've seen in a while.
So Escape really offered up nothing except for the Cane of Samaria. I wonder if... Well, Sabo will probably check the back of Escape from this routing, along with Sanctuary and Graveyard Wedge. And Chloe's going to head into Kakariko to pick up the grand total of Shovel and Blue Mail.
Sabo really wishes he had those mitts and boots right now to grab that flute. Just a single rupee. Not even worth the bomb it took to get in. So, looks like they're just going to be checking stuff we've already seen, so I'd like to remind everyone, give these runners a follow. There's Twitch links in chat. They're putting on a good show here. So, where do you think they might head next? Do you think they might go to Ice Palace now that they got a bit more firepower?
I wouldn't go to Ice Palace until I had the hammer.
That's a good point. I forgot about that.
Although, honestly, that's all I would really care about. I am perfectly confident in Fighter Sword Ice Palace, but these players might not be. So, Sabo has Master Sword. That should be good enough, I'd imagine.
Looks like Sabo's heading over towards the eastern area now.
Quake can be required, which is an interesting thing about... It's kind of that the keys in Turtle Rock can make it so that the medallion will never be required, but it is possible. In response to somebody in chat.
Yeah, there's those weird doors that are locked, but you can enter from the back without a key. So I think it's possible to do, but it's not in logic.
It is always possible to do Turtle Rock without the medallion, assuming you have Mire. But it is not always in logic. And so here we're getting a Sahasra's Closet check with the hook shot.
There we go.
Wonderful item to find.
Yeah, finally some progression after a whole lot of nothing on the west side of Light World. Oh, Khloe can probably check this dig spot. I don't think Sabo did that.
Yes, Sabo was unable to check the dig spot because he made the south loop up through Kakariko, and since you got the shovel in Kakariko, that would make it rather time-consuming to come back here. But Chloe's routing makes it possible to come straight here and get it.
That's a Cane of Burna.
Ooh, that could be interesting. Depending on where we find the cape, and depending on what locations are in logic, because there is really only one location where the runners would actually care about the Cane of Burna, and that's in Spike Cave. So, if Spike Cave does in fact have a progression item, Chloe's in a much better position than Sabo.
It does also put the laser bridge in logic, although you can certainly skip those lasers. Blue rupee. You'll notice there's now stairs going up to the floating island. It's another inverted change. So I was gonna go and check the Zora area now. There's some powder and the boots. Nice haul there.
That is one step towards getting the flute. And the other step is picking up the mitts. And it should be noted that mitts are optional in inverted mode. Unlike in your regular, standard, or open seeds where you will always need the mitts, in inverted it is definitely possible to skip the mitts, assuming that you don't get certain combinations of items that would otherwise require you to have them.
Yeah.
There isn't really a specific pendant or crystal that would require mitts, but for example, if you had, let me think. It's actually pretty difficult to come up with a scenario in which you absolutely have to get mitts, aside from King's Tomb, which is the only location in Logic that will strictly always require mitts.
Yeah, I think the main way I can think of is if they are your light world access. Also, Sabo paid $500 for his shiny $20 rupee from Zora.
To clarify a question in chat, Laser Bridge does still require the Mirror Shield, the Cane of Burna, or the Cape. The laser skip trick, which is very commonly seen, is not actually in the logic. Then again, on the other hand, I don't really think that anybody obeys that logic from Laser Bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, Turtle Rock has some of the most complicated logic of any dungeon, I think. As far as I know, the only location where the one-hit kill logic comes into play is that spike chest in Misery Mire.
The game expects you to be able to get that with 3 hearts, and it is possible. It's very tight, but it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, if it's in one-hit kill mode, then it's not in logic without an invincibility item.
Oh yeah, the same applies for the Spike Room and Ice Palace. If you don't have the hookshot to cross it, then you'll need an invincibility item. And actually, in a relevant change, the inverted logic to get over to East Dark Death Mountain will require an invincibility item in OKO mode. Because you do have to take damage to get past those Lionels. They are pretty good guard lion things. What are Lionels? They're like lions, right?
I guess. Magic fire-breathing lions.
And in another note, Sabo picked up the Quake Medallion in Paradox Cave, and now the red mail on the floating island. As you can see, we've added a bridge letting you get over there. Khloe now picking up the boots and the powder as well. I am wondering whether our runners will go to Turtle Rock. It will be a pretty significant time investment. You have to go all the way around because we don't have a mirror, so we can't get there straight from the light world. You'd have to go around, cross the top, and then go in the front, and then hope that you can actually get through it, which might be possible. It is possible for Turtle Rock to be mirror locked, since you can have, for example, the big key on Laser Bridge, which is not something that you'd ever usually see. But in Inverted, because you can go straight to Laser Bridge, it is possible to see it. But before we head into Turtle Rock, we're going to get a look at Hookshot Cave. And in Hookshot Cave, we get a very important item, the blue boomerang, which is, as everybody knows, the best boomerang.
Sab0's opening up Turtle Rock and is going to go in. Unique item in Thieves' Town. Not very useful.
That hint is probably referring to the lamp that we picked up there. So Khloe, having not yet picked up the hookshot, is going to head to Skull Woods, which is interesting because it is an off-pendant dungeon. I believe we did also get the hint that says that Sahasrahla is just holding some money from Khloe, so we can assume that they know that. And there's only one item left to get here, I believe, so I mean, without the hookshot, the decision is not unreasonable.
Turtle Rock big key in the front.
So far, this is looking like a relatively completable Total Rock to me. I think the only way that it could be not completable is if we had 2 keys on Laser Bridge. That would make it not completable with our current equipment. We'd need the mirror.
So as far as go mode, what do we still need? We need the bow. Of course, we need the hammer. And we need the book to get into desert because you can't mirror in there anymore. And you may need the mirror for Turtle Rock.
Although at this point, it's actually looking like we probably won't need the mirror, given all the keys we've been getting. I'm starting to think that mirror might actually be in Turtle Rock itself.
It could be. Khloe using the spin speed dash there to get through Death Mountain relatively quickly.
I didn't catch what sab0 got in the chest. Actually, looking at the tracker, it looks like Tempered Sword, so that's pretty good.
That'll help with Trinex. Khloe only able to get the first chest here, unless he can hobble.
Ooh.
Another boomerang.
Well, that is actually not good. That means that Turtle Rock is now mirror locked. We don't have a key to continue further, and it looks like sab0 is rather confused by this.
Did he maybe forget to pick
Possibly
up the key
rage
earlier?
slashes. No.
Like from that pokey.
Sabo got every key.
Okay. Yeah, so we will need the mirror then. Khloe going over here to check Agahnim and also the checkerboard cave, which you can get into from the light world now.
And Sabo heading into Ice Palace. This is our second look at Ice Palace. We got a glimpse of the first chest earlier when Khloe dipped it at the beginning of the seed. But now we get to see further into the dungeon because Sabo has a lot more gear. Oh!
There's our mirror.
That is rather good for Khloe. A mirror in Agahni's cave is going to be pretty difficult to find.
Yeah, and he won't have to double dip Turtle Rock.
Also, with the mirror, Khloe can do the superior Turtle Rock route, which is to go in from the laser bridge entrance, clear up to the front, and then mirror back to fight Trinix. And with that mirror, Khloe can also go and check the Mire shed, as well as the medallion for Mire, which is Bombos.
We did have Bombos early. This is one of my favorite glitches because it's just so random. When you push up one of the blocks with the mirror and just spam the mirror, the block just disappears.
I wish I could say that I knew how it worked, but I actually have no idea.
I read something about it, but it's a bit technical, so yeah, I'm not sure I could explain it.
Khloe here is using this warp that appears on the bridge after Agahnim 1 is defeated. It essentially serves the same purpose as the castle gate would in a non-inverted seed. It lets you get into the light world from that warp should you save and quit.
Khloe grabbing his hook shot. Worth noting now, we're over an hour in and no hammer yet. That is kind of unusual.
Khloe smartly mirroring back to the dark world before saving and quitting so that they can respawn up on Dark Death Mountain instead of having to save and quit, realize that you defeated Agahnim and you have the mirror, and then you're on top of Hyrule Castle, and then you have to mirror again and save and quit again, and it's quite annoying, so good on them for having the foresight to realize that.
Sabo skipping that hint.
A bold play considering we're still a couple of items from Go mode.
He's down to 1 heart as well, so hopefully he can survive here.
Sabo is a fairy. It's probably okay.
Oh, yeah. Gets the big key. Can't go upstairs because you need the hammer for those 2 chests up there.
Sabo's dip of Ice Palace turning out to be a complete bust. Nothing in there at all.
So where else is left to look for this hammer? Eastern, maybe?
Yes, we have Eastern Palace. We don't have access to Tower of Hera because it is always completely locked by the hammer in this mode. We have... Actually, we don't have it. We have the bow-locked side of Palace of Darkness, which I don't remember if it can have an item or not. I don't remember our item counts there, but that is a potential location. We could have Misery Mire, we could have Laser Bridge, a couple of miscellaneous overworld locations that we haven't gotten to yet. Could be in a lot of locations, honestly.
I do remember they got at least 5 small keys from Pod without that bowlock side, so chances are there's an item there. Sabo really wants that flute.
I don't really blame him. The flute in Inverted was altered so that it now flutes you around in the Dark World, which is pretty cool, except that you still have to activate the flute in the Light World. But I heard that's something that might be changed, possibly. Khloe, no! Just use the mirror and go in through Laser Bridge. What are you doing?
Sabo checking the Lumberjack Cave. Just some money.
Saber must be feeling pretty strapped for progression right now. We know that the location he needs to go is Agahnim Cave, which is a pretty rough check in Inverted. Especially because he doesn't have mitts or flute. And what would actually make that location easiest to check is if you had mitts and flute. You could flute to 6. That would put you into the Misery Mire area in the Dark World. And then you can lift the portal to go through and check rather quickly. But he doesn't have that. And we don't know where mitts are, so it could be a while before he checks that.
Yeah. Of course, it's not that bad a check since you got Checkerboard Cave there as well, so it's at least 2 items. I'm starting to wonder if this hammer might be in Mire.
I could see that. But, considering we got Bombus very early into the seed, both our runners have it now. That could be an indicator that something is in Misery Mire, but it's definitely not certain. I could also see a hammer being on Laser Bridge right now.
That's true, we've not seen Laser Bridge. Funny enough, assuming Khloe finishes this dungeon, that'll be his first crystal. Not too often Turtle Rock is your first crystal.
That is quite amusing, actually.
Ah, that's where that tempered
That nice tempered sword. Actually, the only crystals that we even have the ability to finish right now are Total Rock and Thieves Town. That's kind of crazy. Everything else is either bow, hammer, or book locked.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So Khloe is going to exit Total Lock here. And that will change the mirror point where you mirror back to. So now it's no longer possible to head back up to the very top of TR. You'll instead mirror over to this entrance by the big chest. And that means, because we know that Laser Bridge is mirror locked, it's going to have to either be a save and quit or backtrack through the entirety of Total Lock to get back up to the top so that you can mirror. And this is why I think that going from the back is the best option.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Also because it's just faster in general.
I think Khloe was planning for that, because he save and quits immediately.
It's a long way back up to Total Lock, though. Have to go up into the Light World portal, hookshot across the bridge, go up through Paradox Cave, drop down a mirror. It looks like Sabo's heading over to Eastern Palace now, a dip that we haven't even seen yet.
Yep. Yeah, Khloe came over to do Sahasrar's closet, but did not continue to Eastern.
Okay, so now we can finally get our laser bridge check and finish off Trinix while we're here.
And nothing on Laser Bridge, so I guess let's go to Trina. And there's our hammer, right there in Eastern Palace, so that's pretty huge for Sabo.
Plus we get the Mimic Cave hint right there. So that hopefully informs Sabo that he does not have to go to Mimic Cave at all. I mean, assuming that he doesn't care about that bottle. So the hammer is good for Sabo, but it also depends on the location of the bow. And having that hammer will draw him away from the mirror for a long time because it is nowhere near where he needs, anywhere that he could use that hammer. So the question is, where are remaining items? For example, if bow is on Trinix, that basically completely negates the advantage that Sabo gets from having the hammer, because Khloe gets the bow, goes straight to Eastern, gets the hammer, clears pod right away. So let's see.
Just bombs. Well, if Sabo finds the book, that would at least draw him back over to the correct area. But yeah, at this point, I guess we're just looking now for the bow and the book. Sabo looks like he wants to go finish off Ice Palace now.
Yep, Sabo can complete a lot of dungeons at this point. Let's see, Tower of Hera, Palace of Darkness, Ice Palace. Can't complete Total Lock yet, needs the mirror for that.
Yeah, if he finds the book here in Ice Palace, that would be massive for him.
Khloe heading into Mimic Cave without the hammer. That'll be a problem.
Yeah, the hammer was at, I believe it's the compass chest in Eastern Palace.
I am hoping that we don't have to go to Swamp Palace. I don't like
Yeah,
Swamp
me
Palace.
too.
Well, okay, let's see. Since chat loves pedestal.
Oh,
Ooh,
there's
never
the...
mind. The book. Ooh.
Alright,
So,
that's great news for sab0tender.
absolutely. Getting that book there draws him over to Desert Palace, which draws him into the mirror. And having mirror basically means that all Sabo needs now is the bow.
Chloe finally heading over to grab the hammer here. And Sabo's gonna go fight Cold Stare. Tempered Sword and half magic, this should be not too difficult.
Don't forget red mail and 12 hearts.
Yeah, that too.
Nice
Very good
clean fight from Zabo.
Yeah.
And that is, believe it or not, only our second crystal.
Yeah, Seed started off slow, but we are very quickly approaching go mode.
Khloe unfortunately missing the Stalfos spawning strat in the Eastern Palace. If you move in a particular way, you can get the Stalfos to spawn in the walls. So you don't have to kill them.
Oh, that's what happens. I assume they just didn't spawn.
If you spawn if you spawn the enemy inside the wall, the game tries to spawn, realizes there's a wall in the way, and then winds up not spawning the Stalfos.
Here's our Bombos tablet check. We know one of them is a piece of heart. Let's see what this is. It's a rupee, so we don't have to worry about the ether tablet, as long as they remember that hint.
In any case, Ether Tablet isn't going to be too difficult to route in anyway, because it's right next to Hera, and we have to go to Hera anyway, so no big deal.
Alright, here's our first look at Desert Palace. Vanilla compass. Sweet corn on pizza is a great choice.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if I've ever had corn on pizza, but it sounds interesting.
If you clear Turtle Rock from Laser Bridge, it will put you out at the Turtle Rock main entrance at the head. And a change that was made in inverted mode is that even if you didn't open the entrance, if you try to exit out of the entrance, it will be opened for free. And this was done in order to prevent the soft locks that occur, or can potentially occur, should you attempt to leave and the head is still closed. You can get stuck inside of the head of the turtle. It's kind of funny to see.
Sabo still needs to find the bow, which we have no idea where it is. Shularoon, I think the keys under pots are considered like a separate type of item, so I don't know if we'll ever see those randomized. I think it would take a fair amount of coding.
The randomization of those is part of Randomizer.
Well,
There is
yeah,
in this yeah, in the tournament we're not using the variant of Randomizer which would do that, which is called Pot Shuffle. Mostly because, well, partly because it's chaotic, partly because I think there is a soft lock in Palace of Darkness that can happen, which is kind of funny to see. If you don't get the switch to open the door in a place that you can access. But we're not using Pot Shuffle for this tournament in any case, so the Randomizer settings are Chaos Boss Shuffle and Randomized Enemies, and Palette Shuffle as well, and I believe that's it.
Yeah. I was also thinking, though, if you could add those keys into the item pool, which would be cool, but I think that's technically kind of difficult to do.
Adding them into the item pool would require being able to put items underneath those pots, I suppose,
Yeah.
which would make Swap Palace really terrible, but it would also probably require a significant amount of hacking work.
Yeah. Anyway, sab0tender is about to grab the Mire here.
Chloe's going somewhere, pulling out the mirror. My guess is to save the Smiths.
Yeah, Smith Jim. Yeah, another small change in made here. They got rid of most of those bushes in the light world to just make it a little easier to get back with the Smith. Since now you can save them without the Titan Smiths.
The removal of the bushes, I believe, is actually to prevent softlocks, because it's possible if you mirror in certain precise locations to get stuck between trees and bushes, but you won't mirror bonk. And so if you have the mirror portal sitting there, but you can't move at all, and you wind up sitting there for long enough that you can go back to the light world, you'll actually bonk into the bushes, so you'll be completely soft locked. So I believe the bushes were removed in order to prevent that.
Oh, that makes sense. Smith's just had a single arrow for us. What does Magic Bat have to offer? Just a heart piece. sab0tender, meanwhile, is going to go with the Tower of Hero, which we have not seen yet. He did forget that hint, which is a pretty easy hint to forget. So he'll get a piece of heart here. And Khloe also doing something new to us, the hammer pegs.
Meanwhile, Sabo is heading into Tower of Hera, which has 2 hint tiles, makes it relatively valuable.
And purple chest. And there's our first item, just some bombs. So we're doing what we like to call the coffee break strat. Because if you have the little floor thing go up while you're standing on it, you become invulnerable.
I don't actually do that anymore because it's actually possible to get soft locked. If you are on the exact corner between the tiles, you get soft locked there, and if you don't have the mirror, or actually even if you do have the mirror, you just have to mirror out, or you have to save and quit out, and when you come back to the room, you have to sit through all the tiles again. So I don't do that anymore.
I had that happen once, and yeah, I didn't have the mirror, so that was pretty annoying. So it looks like the Smith chain didn't turn out much, and Khloe's gonna head into Pendant Swamp. It's kind of an interesting decision to do this before Ice Palace.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I definitely don't agree with this decision. When you have Crystal Tower of Hera, you have Crystal Ice Palace just waiting there for you. Why would you not go to them?
Yeah, he must think he's behind, so maybe he needs to do a gamble here. Yeah, that's correct. Chiriko, you can only get in the Desert Palace with the book.
And here we have everybody's favorite Troll Dorm, dispatched very easily with a couple of tempered spin attacks.
Yep. And just a map, so nothing much in Tower of Hera. Did we see Spike Cave yet?
We have not seen Spike Cave yet.
So I might go do that. What's he doing? Oh, he's probably gonna go to Turtle Rock. Yeah.
In fact, you can, yes, you can route in Spike Cave after Turtle Rock.
Yeah, this is a Mit's optional seed, unless the bow is locked behind the Mit's.
I believe that it cannot be, because there is only one location that hard requires mitts that we don't have access to, which is, well, which is King's Tomb, but we know that has the flute, so it can't be the bow.
That is true.
In addition, the flute doesn't unlock any locations for us, so it can't be behind the flute either.
Sabo gonna go do Trinex at about the same time Chloe's gonna be doing Argus.
Pretty good phase ones from our respective bosses and players, and a very clean Argus phase 2 quick kill from Khloe, and a good Trinix phase 2 from Sabo.
Nope. Nothing much so far out of Swamp, but we do. Oh, and I think we learned earlier, didn't we, that Sahasrahla doesn't have anything valuable.
We did. Khloe, looks like Chloe's heading back into Swamp to get the big chest and the left side.
I'm pretty sure we saw the map. Yeah, we got the map and the compass, so there's 3 items in here.
Yeah, and Sabo is now heading to Spike Cave. This is one of those annoying out-of-the-way locations that is sometimes kind of difficult to route in. Looks like Sabo's routing it in pretty well, though. Shouldn't be a problem, since you'd probably expect to save and quit out of this situation anyway. And doing it without expending any magic, very nice. But only 10 arrows.
So we're starting to dwindle down here in locations. We still haven't seen the interior of Misery Mire, so there's that.
Looks like Sabo is heading to Swamp Palace as well, which makes sense from his perspective a lot more, considering that he doesn't have any crystal dungeons to clear, not really any other nice locations, so Swamp Palace is a pretty reasonable play at this perspective.
Yeah. I think this is Mire, and then after that, I can't think of anything other than Pedestal.
I don't think we checked Catfish.
Oh, there's a mushroom. Catfish. Yeah, I don't remember that being checked because we didn't have gloves before we went to Agahnim.
Catfish has been in Logic for a pretty long while now.
I was going to go straight to turn in that mushroom.
Alright, let's see what the witch has to offer us. Could it be the bow?
No. Chloe's gonna pick up a potion and presumably go check catfish.
So that means that the Swamp Palace dip was completely worthless. There was absolutely nothing to be gained. And Sabo is also making it as well, but
yeah.
Whether Sabo dips the left side of Swamp remains to be seen, so that could be a significant time save.
Has other player checked Hobo?
I'm not actually sure.
I don't remember seeing that either. Oh, just a piece of hair. Well, Chloe's not going back to go check Hobo, so presumably he's already checked. And Chloe, I guess, is going to go do Tower of Hera.
Neither runner has checked Ice Rod Cave. Wow, that would be...
No, I think I saw someone go there. I think it was just bombs or harpies or something.
Oh, really? I don't remember that, but okay.
Could be wrong. I think I saw it. Simon takes out Argus.
We have cleared out the entirety of North Hyrule. We got Bonk Rocks, at least on sab0tender's side. I don't know if Khloe got it. We got Graveyard Wedge. We got Back of Escape and Sanctuary. We checked Aga, the Lumberjack item. So, really, Mire and Pedestal is honestly seeming like the only options left.
Yeah. And again, I can't remember Hobo being checked, but given that Khloe didn't go when he was right next to that whirlpool, I'm guessing he did. No, chat says it was checked. So, I assume Sabo probably will go to Mire after this.
To me, it's looking like Sabo is questionably in the lead to some extent, considering that Khloe hasn't gone to, back to Ice Palace at all. Sabo has Desert already completed and Ice, and both runners are looking for the bow, but Khloe is also looking for the book.
Oh, that's true.
But then again, it all depends who finds the bow first. Our search space is becoming increasingly limited.
Yeah. Sabo also hasn't beaten Mothula, So he might want to go there and do that. I can't remember if there was an item on Mothia or not. But he could check pet at some time. In fact, oh no, he hasn't been to Mire. I was gonna say he could pull pet.
If Bo is on pedestal, Sabo still has some of that advantage because he has book, Khloe doesn't. Can check pedestal and then mirror straight to Mothula if it is required.
Oh yeah, the Smiths. I don't think Sabo did the Smiths, did he?
Khloe getting a fast Mothula on Tempered Sword, which is not something you see particularly often. It requires you to poke Mothula instead of using a slash or a spin for one of the hits. No problem though. Taking out Mothula reasonably quickly.
Sabo checking Ice Rod Cave. What's he gonna do now? Okay, maybe he's gonna go check Hobo and Zora.
Have we seen a Zora check? I don't remember.
Yeah,
I feel like we
someone
did.
went up there. It was, I think it was a big 20. Oh, we got the boots there, and the I think the powder as well from the waterfall cave.
Sabo, no. Go check Hobo. I want to know what's there. Turning in that mushroom, I guess. And we have Khloe finally going back to Ice Palace after the dip at the beginning of the seed. We're finally back. Gonna pick up that book and finish off Cold Stare. So where is Sabo going next? Saving and quitting to the chapel suggests Skullwoods, perhaps?
Yeah, so we might get a ped check here.
Yeah, looks like it.
Forgetting he doesn't have those mitts. Oh, he might also be going to do the Smiths, because I don't think he's done that. Yeah,
Yep.
he's gonna go do the Smiths.
Personally, if it was me, I would have gone to pedestal right there, given how few checks I'm getting left.
Yeah.
Or possibly not realizing that he doesn't have the flute, tries to
trying to-
activate it.
Trying to activate the shovel, I guess.
I'm imagining Papoy trying to play the shovel like a flute.
I was imagining him flying on the shovel like a broomstick from Harry Potter.
That one's better. That flute is safely locked away in the king's tomb. We cannot get to it until we have the mitts. And the flute is definitely not required for anything this seed.
Yeah, those mints could even be in GT.
That's good. Inverted is the mode where everybody can realize that mitts are the worst item. And there's the book for Khloe.
Yep.
So
Just-
that will probably lead into Desert Palace right away, followed by most likely a mirror into checking Misery Mire, since it's the one dungeon that we haven't gone into yet.
Yeah,
And honestly, it's looking like Misery Mire at this point.
Yeah. Just a quick reminder, since we've already seen all this stuff, give our runners a follow. They're both very talented to have made it into this tournament, and they're putting on a good show here. I'll put up the link in chat. Sabo gonna turn in that purple chest. You can't swim with it. And then, I guess Misery Mire, I don't think it has much else left.
You can swim with the purple chest. What are you talking about?
It just stayed behind for him.
Oh, it's probably because he pressed A to try swimming faster in the water. If you want to swim with the purple chest, you have to mash B and Y exclusively. Otherwise, you'll let go of the chest.
That's good to know. And here we go, finally into Misery Mire.
Alright, we are finally heading into Misery Mire. After 1 hour and 50 minutes of avoiding this place.
Now, what's Khloe gonna check next? Probably gonna go to desert with that book, I guess. Not sure if Sabo meant to use Bombos there, but
Yeah.
he used it nonetheless. It didn't even do anything.
Bombos is unfortunately the longest medallion by a good couple of seconds. I would've... If I was going to use a medallion for that room, I would've just switched to ether.
Yeah. Sabo using Cane of Burnout to conserve his 4 hearts there. And there's our big key, so we have a God Mire, except that we need to find a bow. Sabo forgetting about those blue tiles.
So at this point, what else can we have? We'd have the 2 chests in Misery Mire, the hobo, and the pedestal, and that's really all I can think of.
Yeah. Because even if we found the myths, I don't think they unlock anything except that King's Tomb.
Nope, the mitts are completely useless. We might have a bow on pedestal seed, folks.
Yeah.
That rarest of wonders.
And here's everyone's favorite cutscene room. There's a hint in that room up there, but I can see why he's skipping it, because we don't have that many locations left to check anyway. So there's our first item, just 10 arrows, so we got 1 item left here. I think we got the hobo, and then the pedestal.
Man, the suspense in this seed is killing me. I just want to know what the bow is.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last item in Misery Mire... Oops, we have one more chest. I forgot about this. Alright, the last item in Misery Mire is on Vitreous.
Yep. What a mean seed this has been.
Yeah, it might wind up being a literal all-dungeon seed. Have to clear Agga 1 for Light World access. Have to do all the pendants. No block avoid spooky action, though. Oh well. Not really expected, it's a pretty difficult trick.
No silvers, so Vitreous is gonna... Oh, we got the Cane of Burnout, so that shouldn't be too difficult.
You do not need Flute for Spooky Action Glitch. There is a setup where you drop a Samaria block into a pit, and that has a similar effect to letting the bird fly away on the screen. And so that will allow you to do spooky action, although in a slightly different setup. You don't have to dash next to the portal anymore. That is a very old setup. Back when we first discovered it, we thought you needed to do that in order to set the altitude correctly, but you don't have to do that anymore.
Pretty nice fight there from Sabo. And there's the bow.
Alright. No pedestal, I guess.
No, but almost. So
literally, literally like 2 items away from having to pull the pedestal.
Yeah, so 1 hour, 56 minutes, and I guess around 45 seconds. Let's go mode. Khloe is not.
So at this point, we can say Sabo has a couple minutes advantage. Since we know what Khloe's route will be. Go through Mire, grab the bow, and then do the remaining 2 dungeons.
Yeah, so we can still, I mean, depending on how Ganon's tower goes, this could still be a race, so it's not over yet.
This was a really terrible seed, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Like, wow. If either of the runners had gone into Mire early and completed it, that would have been a extremely game-deciding decision. And
yeah.
Instead, we wind up getting a tour of the entire world first.
Now I kind of want to know what was on pedestal. Was it the Mets? Maybe the Silvers?
We'll get to see in the credits.
She'd also teased you with that early hint for the flute, but then never giving you access to get it. Shuriku, there's no energy barrier there, but you do need 7 crystals to get in the door.
Ooh, Khloe giving us a no major glitches Vitreous, where you take damage boosts off of the acid in order to spin attack the eyeballs. Very nice.
Khloe grabbing his bow, and he's in go mode now.
Yeah, this has been a pretty chaotic race. Runners essentially running around the entire world, picking up items, uniting at Agahnim 1 to get into the light world, and then running around again to try and find those items. and now we're here.
Yeah. If all the inverted races go like this, this is going to be a fun tournament.
I honestly do not expect most races to be like this. I think this is a special case.
I don't know, I've seen some pretty crazy inverted seeds. This is right up there.
Sabo running dangerously low on arrows.
Yeah, probably gonna want to grab some before he heads to Ganon's Tower.
With the changes that we've made in V30, the capacity ferry upgrade pond is now actually back in working order. You can buy upgrades there for 100 rupees. So
Yep.
I have seen players use that pond in order to refill bombs before Ice Palace or arrows before Ganon's Tower. Although considering that we don't have the mirror, we don't have mitts, we don't have flute, which makes it kind of inconvenient to get over there. So getting arrows might be a little difficult, actually.
That's true. No, the barrier is not there, so in inverted the requirements for Aga are you need a fighter's sword and gloves and a lamp. The gloves are because you need to get up in death map.
Good quick Helmasaur fight from Saba. Picking up the final crystal.
And some
as well as a
blue
convenient blue potion for your Ganon's Tower trip.
So at this point, Khloe is almost exactly one dungeon behind. Although, he doesn't have to full clear pod, he can just go right on straight to Helmasaur.
And a nice save and quit, because we've already defeated Agahnim 1. We're in the Dark World, and we have the mirror. Sorry. Yes, wait. Now I'm a little confused. Okay. There was a mirror portal outside. You use it, go to the Light World, and then you can save and quit and go to the castle roof. And from there you can immediately go straight to Ganon's Tower. Okay.
Yeah. And we're a little late, but we do like to guess where the GT key is going to be. We've already seen 1 and 2, so I guess you can guess 3 through 22.
I think I'm going to guess 7.
I'll go with, let's say 15. Gold sword, that's pretty nice. Okay, so that's 6 chests.
I think it's interesting that the GT kind of meadow route has evolved to the point where now people are going to the right side first. Before it used to be all left side first, but I don't know.
Yeah, it seems to change pretty often.
Also, we did find the bug net in Palace of Darkness Arena Ledge, is the spoiler log's name for that location.
Ah,
So,
yeah, that's right. Sab0 never checked that. There's our Titan mats.
Myths are useless. We don't need them.
We can go get the flute though. Anyway, I think that was 11 chests now. 12.
The 6 of right side, 7 is the torch, and yes, that's 11, so map chest makes it 12.
Khloe just heading into Helmasaur now. And here comes the randomizer room, as we call it. So these will be chests 14 through 17, if I've counted correctly. Nothing there.
So now we've got Bob's chest, so named for our friend the anti-fairy Bob. Then we have the chest behind Ice House, and then the dreaded tile room. In a tile room, Ganon's Tower Big Key would be just the thing to top this seed off.
Yeah, and if it's there, and Khloe decides to gamble on it first, that could make this a very close race. New shield, small key,
Ooh!
money.
Tile room.
Khloe
Okay, but
unfortunately
it looks like...
skipped it.
Oh well.
That's the problem with not knowing where your opponent's at, because you don't know whether you should gamble or not. Sab0 using a little glitch here. If you use the cape and grab onto the wall, it does not drain your magic, so you can just kind of sit there and
Silver arrows could still be in upstairs Ganon's tower.
we're going to see some pretty gruesome collection numbers at the end here.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be like key sanity levels of collection.
Sab0 finally starting to climb up Ganon's tower.
Sabo having exactly enough arrows to finish the min mix. Fortunately, there was the 5 arrow upon that room, so there were backups, but cutting it a little bit close there.
Nice little fairy to refill Sab0's health. So we're moving on to Moldrum 2. Can use Fire Rod.
Yeah, Land Mollusk 2.
That's the word.
It's okay, they're both worms. Pretty similar. Except you hit one in the head and one in the tail.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Khloe's about to find the bad news.
So if silvers aren't upstairs, Ganon's tower... Actually, no, that won't be enough time to make a difference, I think. Still going to check for them.
There they are.
So now I'm really wondering what's on pedestal, because if it's not silvers, we know it's not any of these core items, then what is it?
Yeah, I guess it must be just some garbage at this point. Could be that 4th bottle, I guess.
No, I'm pretty sure the 4th bottle would be in Mimic Cave because sab0 got the hint before he went there.
That's right.
Actually, they both got the hint before they could go in, so it's in Mimic Cave.
Alright, time for Aga 2. So we got 3 blue balls and Aga 1. How many are we gonna get this time? Just a couple of doubles. Missed the double that time. But there we go. And on to Ganon.
That was something like a 5-cycle Agahnim. Agahnim's a hard boss to do quickly, honestly.
Yeah. And as we see in inverted mode, the bat flies in through the top of Hyrule Castle, and you just have to drop in that hole and go fight Ganon.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, isn't there supposed to be an entire building inside of that like with the pyramid, we never get to go inside, so who knows what's in there. But Hyrule Castle literally has an entire indoor space. It has guards in there. Like, come on, Ganon. Why do you have to make your own room and displace them? That's not.
I think the bat just crashes through all the floors and goes all the way down to the basement.
So they've been keeping the Triforce in the basement of Hyrule Castle this entire time?
I guess so. At least in inverted. And we got Gold Sword and Soldiers. This should be a pretty straightforward fight.
Khloe just had a really nice Landmolus too. Some excellent Fire Rod double hits to finish off in one cycle. Although that does leave them rather low on magic, which they will immediately replenish using that blue potion.
Okay. And that is 2 Gs for sab0tender.
And what a seed that was.
Yeah. And sab0tender is your winner with the time, official SRL time, 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 37 seconds. So, congrats to him. Slowly about to pick up the silvers here. I'll see if we can get Sabo in.
I see Sabo in the waiting room. Should be here shortly. Hello, sab0tender. GG on that wonderful seed.
Oh boy, yeah, wasn't that something? Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that seed was rough at the start and at the end.
It definitely was. This is only my third inverted seed, and they've all been pretty brutal. I've got to figure out how to get a little bit better at that early game stuff for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you looked pretty good to me as far as going around the Dark World.
I felt like, yeah, at first there was a little bit of like indecision, and I was, I wasn't sure where I should go. I kept dying stupidly as well, but eventually it started to kind of work itself out. Once I got that cash and I got over to pod, I was like, okay, I'm starting to feel a little better about how this is going. But even by that point, I thought, oh no, Chloe's probably ahead of me. Like, this is it. I'm done already.
Yeah, no, you guys both sort of had similar problems in the opening because, yeah, there's just no weapons anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that first sword was in pod, I think, but then other than there was nothing else anywhere else in the Dark World until we got the sword in pod, and then I think we got the glove as well, which could have got us up to Death Mountain. So we made progress after that, but yeah, it was a rough start.
Yeah, and then there was that hunt for the bow. And, yeah, I think the only other locations were Pedestal and I think Hobo. I don't think anyone checked that.
Hobo. Ooh. I think I did get up to him. It must have been trash. Because I don't think it wasn't anything at all.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that bow. I mean, we had access once we got the mirror. That would have given us access to both Misery Mire and Swamp at the same time. But when you're going for item density, you're gonna pick Swamp every time. And I
Yeah.
figured, okay, that's the safe play. Let's go with that.
Meanwhile, Chloe is on phase 4 here of Ganon.
Let's go, Khloe.
Gets a double. And GG.
Nice, nicely done.
And Chloe
And-
finishes with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 40 seconds.
Almost exactly a 4-minute difference, which is pretty good considering how insanely long this seed was and so twisty and turny, leading you in different directions. There was one nice moment where both of you were at Agahnim's tower at the exact same time after clearing out pretty much the entire immediate access of Dark World.
Yeah, you guys went around in completely different directions, and then you got to Aga Tower at, yeah, pretty much exactly the same time. And look at that collection rate, 189.
That's so high. It's so
yeah,
bad.
that's pretty gross, but I mean, this was a gross seed.
Yeah, no doubt. Should we drag Khloe in here?
Yeah, Chloe's in the waiting room, so they will join in just a moment.
So, how did you feel when you were heading up Ganon's Tower? Or even like before you got there, did you feel like you might have been behind? Or
Yeah, I definitely did. I've raced Khloe before, and we actually ran a couple of the qualifiers together, and so I mean, I knew I was in tough, and the entire way up, I was thinking, well, at least I was this close, like I was in the tower. Oh, it's losing by 4 or 5 minutes isn't so bad, and it kept getting closer and closer to the top. I'm like, it's not done yet. Oh man. Then I thought he was going to snipe me in the Ganon fight for sure, because I missed a shot there, and I thought, oh, that's going to be it. That's going to be the thing that's going to sink me. But nope, somehow I pulled it off.
Yeah, I
There's
think-
a crazy amount of stress in a 1v1. You're just like, if you think you're behind, you're like, when are they gonna finish? When are they gonna finish? And then you wind up finishing first, and you're like, okay, that happened.
Sure. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
sometimes it's like, you think you're ahead, and then they finish like a good big 10 minutes before you, and you're like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I think you found the hammer first in Eastern. So before that, Chloe had found the mirror over in Agahnim cave earlier on. So we
Oh.
thought Chloe was ahead, but you got the hammer first, and I think that kind of Chloe didn't go over there for a little while. So I think that's what put you in the lead.
That sounds about right. I mean, I thought that when I waited too long to get the hammer in Eastern Palace there, and I figured that Chloe had already been there. That's one of those points in the race where I thought for sure I was behind. But hearing that I grabbed it first, that was kind of a key that was holding us back. So definitely good to pick that up before.
Yeah, if either of you had continued into Eastern after picking up Hookshot into Hosphala, that would have probably been a huge advantage. You get hammer early, that lets you complete a lot of dungeons.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that is Chloe. GG.
Hiyo. G.
GG's.
Yeah, I think a single G might be appropriate here, given this seed.
or just an F, that works too.
Yeah.
We are learning there was a full heart container on the ped, so yeah, I think it was just basically the ped or Vitreous were our last two locations for the bow.
I had nothing. I had tablet too up top, but that's it.
We got a hint at some point that one of the tablets was a heart piece.
Oh, okay.
So
I couldn't
I'm
actually
not sure
remember
if you
that
got that
hint.
one.
I got a tablet hint that said one of the tablets was useless, but I couldn't remember exactly what it was. And I just figured the Bombos tablet was the one it was referring to.
Yeah, those hints that refer to like more than one location, those are always so easy to forget.
But, I mean, that was fun. I mean, I knew what I wanted to do, just do it that early game.
Yeah, the early game was chaotic for both of you. It was you were both all went in completely different directions until you both decided to go to Aga, and then you both hit Aga at almost exactly the same time, like within 10 or 20 seconds.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I was really hoping I'd just get bailed out by like a 50 rupee, but everything was like arrows and bombs, and I'm like, this doesn't help.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you should learn the archery game strat. There's a consistent way to do archery game every single time. Gets you a net profit of 104 rupees. It's really good for early game inverted routing.
Yeah, I meant to learn that, but only played like 3 seeds of invert, so
Didn't you pick this though?
well, yeah, because I thought it would be fun.
Was it fun?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Well, that's
I
good.
agree.
I'm glad it was nice and close.
So this was Chloe's pick. Sabo, what are your plans for your pick?
You know, I hadn't really thought too much about it. I'm a Key Sanity fan, so it's probably going to be some kind of keys. I don't know what else we'll add to the mix, but I think keys are in the future for me and Chloe.
Key sounds fun to me.
All right.
Any idea when you might plan your next match for?
It's not in the books or anything yet, but I know my schedule is pretty flexible, so I'm sure we'll be able to fit it in sometime soon.
We have a massive spreadsheet of available times, so
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
there's 6 weeks left, so no rush.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't seen anyone pick retro. That's.
Yeah, I looked at the schedule.
People don't like retro.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've tried
It's
it
weird.
once or twice. It's a little odd, but it's
I
not.
think I did see like 1 or 2 games that picked it, but it's most people are not.
Okay, there are a couple games of retro. One of them is tonight actually. It already started. It's not being restreamed. Let's see.
It's kind of like Key Sanity without having to remember where the keys go.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah, the best thing about retro is that you can flood the key and swamp and not worry about it.
Oh, okay. So I'm seeing you're up on the restream there, Chloe. You had 12 deaths. I think I had like 5 or something. So yeah, I think it sounds like that might have been what made the difference, that early game stuff.
I mean, we ended up in Ag at the same time, so it wasn't. It
Actually,
must
yeah,
have
you're
not
right.
been that big of a deal.
True.
Um,
Although I did spend more time, I think, just wandering around like a moron.
Yeah, one of you went into Ice Palace early. And
that was me.
yeah,
I found.
unfortunately, you didn't get very far with it.
I got 10 arrows and promptly died to the Pen Gator room.
Yeah, that room is pretty rough if you don't have a sword or boots or whatever.
I was trying to use the bomb to damage boost past them, but I ended up getting hit by them and then hit by the bomb immediately after, so it did 3 hearts of damage.
God.
You see Chloe's collection right there, 187, just 2 below Sabo. So this was a near hundo seed.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trying to
pretty
think.
much.
Most of that is just stuff I didn't pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I think the thieves hideout in the forest there. I bypassed that item, so that would have made me at 190.
Yeah, I did that. Or no, I ran into it on accident. I bypassed Witch's item. Did you find the mushroom?
Yeah, where the heck was that?
Oh, it's our screens don't show the mushroom because we turned it
Mushroom was left side swamp.
Oh, yeah.
Chloe, you went into left side swamp without doing Crystal Ice Palace, which was interesting. But then Sabo went into it afterwards, so it kind of wound up being a net canceled.
I really, at that point, I thought it was just so far behind. I'm like, I'm gonna gamble swamp, bow and book are gonna be here, and then they weren't. And the only thing I found was mushroom, and the green pendant we knew from a hint was already useless. So it was like, well, turn in the mushroom.
Yeah, we were kind of rooting for you to go tile room first in GT. If you'd done that, it would have been really close.
I
would've
imagine
been
it's
so hype.
about 4 minutes to do all of basement. Yeah, it would have been really close. I would have probably missed out on Gold Sword because that was right side. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
Gold Sword
remember
was
where.
right side, but that's not too much of a time loss on Ganon, even if you don't do the one cycle strats.
right,
It's like what, an additional 30 seconds? You could have made that up in the Ganon's tower climb anyway.
it would have been tight. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts about the seed?
No,
About the race?
it was typical invert, except I stunk at it. I still love the meme that gloves are in Titan's mitts are in Ganon's tower. Like almost every invert I've done has
Dude,
been that.
Titan's mitts are the worst item.
Yeah.
They deserve to be in Ganon's tower.
Yeah,
And they
could have
bought
gone back
flute
to
this
get the
time.
flute. Yeah, that was such a tease because that hint came early, and then you just never had access to get it.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything to add. It was a rough one, but it was fun. Thanks to you guys, SPN and ATM, for taking care of the commentary here. Reg doing the tracking there, and to the restreamer. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, thank you guys for putting on a great show for us. All right. So I think.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if anyone wants to catch some more randomizer action, we have in 36 minutes on Speed Gaming, Salty Fry versus PRD Wong, and then at 11:50 p.m. Eastern on Speed Gaming 5 is Kern versus Big Dunka.
All right. I think we are done here. So I am Espion, my co-commentator ETM. And as was mentioned before, we have our tracker Reg, and our restreamer Tiruiku. And the winners are Khloe, Prower, and sab0tender. Give all of them a follow on Twitch. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.